your team feeling burnt out and unmotivated? A disengaged team can significantly impact productivity, morale, and overall company performance. This video is about recognizing the signs of a disengaged team and the proactive steps you can take to overcome this. So firstly, there are some very common signs that a team is disengaged. The first one is a decrease in productivity and the quality of the work. Perhaps they aren't getting through as much work as they have in the past, or the quality is not up to the standard that you expect. Another sign is increased absenteeism and tardiness. This is a pretty easy tell, as it's usually the thing that really stands out to you as a leader, and particularly if you're checking on the leave of your team for any patterns or observations. You can do this really easily if you check out my free leave tracker that's in the description. But if you start to notice frequent absences or late arrivals, and particularly if those absences are falling over the weekend, so a Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, you may have a problem with disengagement. Another sign is a lack of enthusiasm or initiative. This one can be quite subtle and fly under the radar if you aren't dialed in with the energy of your team, but it is an important one. Are they lacking the energy, or are they doing just the bare minimum? It could be disengagement. Negative attitude and complaints is another one. This one is pretty annoying as a leader, and it can infect the team really quickly, as a negative attitude is quite catching and hard to get on top of. Another sign is a high turnover rate. This is the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff if you're looking at this. High turnover is a strong signal that you need to be doing some work on what is disengaging your team. A disengaged team is a missed opportunity. If you can address the underlying issues by implementing some really easy strategies that I'll highlight in this video, you can overcome disengagement so that you create a more productive, motivated, and fulfilling workplace for not just your team, but for yourself. I would say one thing though, about the high turnover rate. If you're seeing it and you have people leaving, make sure you take the time to do an exit interview with these individuals so that you can get some critical feedback. Now, tip number one to start fixing this situation: fostering open communication. Create an environment where employees feel comfortable sharing their thoughts, concerns, and ideas. This can actually be uncomfortable for you as a leader if you're not used to it, but it's about allowing the opportunity for them to bring their own ideas, opinions, and feedback to you, and that you don't just hear them, you actually take them on board and actively listen to them. Check out my video on the screen on how to navigate receiving some of this leadership feedback, as it can be a challenge. By taking the time to listen and communicate with your team, you show that you care, and it's also remembering the little things too. If someone talked about a significant event coming up to you, make sure that you ask them about it later. Yes, this is very basic, but it does actually show that you care about your team and not just from what they can do for you in their role. Number two is to provide recognition and support. Acknowledge your team's hard work and achievements. This can boost morale and encourage continued effort. I would express some caution around things like throwing a pizza party. This can look like a token effort, and sometimes it's not actually that welcome. If you're going to spend money on such initiatives, a lot of staff will say that they would rather that you just gave them the cash. Often just acknowledging with a genuine thank you for something the team has done, actually seeing what they are doing and noticing, can make a really big difference. Tip number three is to offer opportunities for growth and development. Invest in your team's professional development by providing training, mentorship, and career development opportunities. Even if you don't have a budget for training, take the time to talk to them about what their interests are and what it is about what they're doing in their job that excites them, what they're good at, where their strengths are, where their opportunities might lie, as then you can connect them to all of the free resources that are out there that they could be looking up and helping themselves. Number four is to encourage work-life balance. If you can, offering flexible working arrangements can really help people out. Perhaps you can support somebody who would like to start work 15 minutes later, so that when they drop their kids off at school, they're not in a mad panic to try and get to work on time. and it just eases that morning burden for them. It could be working from home days, gym memberships, counselling services. There are a whole raft of things that you can be doing to help your team and supporting them through times where they need extra support. It's also noticing when somebody seems like they're run down and they might need to take a break, and actively encouraging them to do so. Number 5 is to create a positive work culture. It is well researched that to be engaged and invested in work, we need to feel a sense of belonging and connected to something meaningful. Make time to meet with your team regularly and connect them to how they're contributing to something meaningful that the company is doing. Help them find their fit and get a sense of belonging from the work they do and the environment that they are in. Now, if you're seeing the signs of decreased productivity or quality, increased absenteeism or tardiness, lack of enthusiasm and initiative, negative attitude and complaints, you need to get on top of this really quickly. Make sure that you have systems in place to check on quality and productivity. You don't have to be a micromanager, and please don't be a micromanager. Check out the video on my screen on how not to be a micromanager, but it is still really important to be able to target performance if it is an issue and to be able to identify it really quickly. The same goes for absenteeism and tardiness. Keep a leave tracker to ensure that you are aware of any patterns so you can speak to individuals directly about this. But also, if your team see that somebody else is getting away with having days off when they don't feel like working, or turning up each day late with no consequences, then they'll either get resentful that you aren't addressing this issue, or think that they may as well adopt the same strategy, as why should they be working hard when others aren't? A negative attitude, lack of enthusiasm, and complaining is also a virus. Pull them up in the moment if they're speaking in a way that is negative and counterintuitive to productive conversation. And if you need support to handle those difficult conversations, make sure you check out the video linked on my screen. And thanks very much for watching.